Am I the a-hole for ruining my brother's date night and having him come pick his 3-year-old son up after I dropped him off at my house right before my shift? I, male 32, have a brother, male 30, Kevin, who is a single dad to a 3-year-old. Kevin lives in the same city as me. We don't have any family or relatives here, just a few friends. Kevin has a habit of dumping his kid on me at random times to watch while he goes out on dates with women. So far, he's gone out for 4 dates while expecting me to watch my nephew. It bothered me because I have work commitments. I'm a nurse, and my schedule can be unpredictable, and so it caused me issues at work for dropping his kid off at my house without telling me first. Last week he did it again. He came over at 6 p.m. and entered my house with my nephew. He had a spare key while I was showering and left the house immediately. I got out of the shower and was shocked to see my nephew standing there alone. I asked where his dad was, and he said he just left. I knew he wanted me to watch my nephew, but I called him several times on the phone and he did not pick up. I was so mad and almost freaking out because I was getting late for my shift. I sent him a text telling him to come pick his son up right now, or I'd call cops on him for child abandonment. He texted back begging that I suck it up just this time because he had an important date and he couldn't live in the middle of it. I told him that I was serious and I'd do it and gave him 10 minutes to get home. He got home looking pissed and started yelling at me for ruining his dates and making him leave in the middle of it, just because I couldn't bother skip one damn shift to watch my nephew. I told him I never agreed to watch his son. It made me do it. He said that it was an emergency, which made me laugh because calling a date night emergency is just absurd. Long story short, he left with my nephew but hasn't stopped blaming me for spoiling his date and probably causing damage to the relationship between him and his potential girlfriend. It's been a week, and he's still salty about it, demanding I make it up to him and call his date and lie to her and tell her some sob story about why he had to leave like that. But I said I won't do that. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. He had an important date. He said that it was an emergency. Were they defusing a bomb together or something? I'm sorry. I just laughed so hard at this. Like, yeah, calling it an emergency is just not it, I guess. Change your locks, man. This. Brother should not have access to your home because he will keep doing this. Not stay home. Change your locks and put your brother's number on Do Not Disturb. He can hire a sitter if he wants to go out so badly. This. Change your locks. This is absolutely dangerous, and I would call CPS. How does he even have sole custody? The only reason I can think of is that the mother is completely absent. Death, abandoned the awful brother, etc. Not stay home, and you probably saved some poor young woman from having your nephew dumped on her. Your brother isn't dating. He's looking for a mommy mukbang maid. This is exactly what I was thinking. I hate when people aren't upfront about having kids and try to ambush people from dates to parenthood. Next story. Am I the a-hole for asking a colleague to mind her own business after my dad groomed my mom and reporting her to my manager for this? A bit of background. It was my mom's 53 female birthday a few weeks ago. My dad, 64 male, decided to treat her to a dinner in her favorite restaurant. It's worth mentioning that my dad does not speak English, and my mom is not a native speaker either, but she's pretty fluent in it. My mom also looks significantly younger than she is due to working out, diets, and different beauty therapies, while my dad looks his age. So one of the waitresses pulled my mom aside and asked if she had been groomed by my dad. My mother thought that being groomed means being taken care of and treated, so she replied positively. After that, she couldn't understand why the waitress urged her to leave and hide and thought it's a surprise. Long story short, police got called and nearly arrested my dad until mom cleared the air, showed her passport, and said they were married for over 25 years. No hard feelings. They left a decent tip for the restaurant for doing something and laughed at the situation. More like miscommunication. Now, on Friday, I was telling this story to my work friend, and we both agreed that it was funny. One of our work colleagues, Nancy, intervened and said if she was the police officer, she would still take my dad into custody, as due to their age difference, it's clear to her that my mother was groomed by him. Just hearing that wanted me to vomit, since my parents met each other when both of them had successful careers, and my dad was working as a member of the police force himself for years and adopted me and raised me as his own daughter. I snapped and asked Nancy to mind her own business and stop making assumptions, but she carried on. I had no choice but to get the manager involved, and both of us got dismissed until Monday to wait for HR to look into the issue. Since then, Nancy posted a rant on social media and called me an a-hole for supporting grooming of women by older rich men, and some other people agreed with her. This entire situation makes me angry, but am I the a-hole for reporting her to the management? Not the a-hole. Nancy is way out of line. Take a screenshot of her rants for HR. Yes, HR needs to know how Nancy's being an awful bully on social media. Her behavior is unacceptable. I feel like this post is a great example of the term grooming being overused/misused. Even though there's an 11-year age difference between OP's parents, when they met, they were both at a place where they were stable and successful with their individual lives. There's not a gap in life experience, which is where it matters. Grooming isn't about the numerical age gap. A couple might have a 4-year age gap, that is 15 and 19, and still qualify as grooming if one partner is taking advantage of the life experience difference between them. Obviously, it's more likely if there is a big numerical gap, but it isn't everything. Not stay home. You ask her to stop. She did not. Make sure you document everything she does. Screenshot Facebook rant and anything else. IRT this issue, especially if it continues after HR talks to her. Not stay home. She almost certainly looks like a grown woman capable of making her own choices, rather than having randos concerned trolling her. Not stay home. The age difference is 11 years. I have a lot of family that have that age difference. Your coworker is sticking her nose in where it doesn't belong, and she has blown it out of context. I would also tell HR that she has put this in social media. Take a screenshot if you can for proof, as this is totally wrong. 11 years is no big deal since they were married when she was 28. Obviously, there are situations where 11 years would be grooming, but this is so not that. Thank God Nancy's not a police officer. Exactly. A 15-year-old with a 25-year-old? Definitely grooming and highly inappropriate. A 25-year-old with a 35-year-old? No big deal. Edit. It seems a lot of people think that somehow my mom looks like a young teen. She isn't. I'd say she looks about middle 30s, judging by my colleagues guessing her age. She uses Botox and other therapies to keep young as her job involves meeting a lot of people, be seen by a lot of people, so she has to look presentable. Before someone else jumps on it, no, it's not prostitution or anything like that. Think more like in filming/acting. Possibly she stole her secret of being forever young from Paul Rudd or Jared Leto, I don't know. Where we live, grooming in adults is recognized, but mostly in a way to push someone towards prostitution or trafficking. And to the person who said my dad was sleeping with my mom since she was 18, please seek help. They didn't even know each other until my mom was 25 and already pregnant with me. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to take pictures with my stepsister on her birthday? My mom was an alcoholic and cheater, and my dad divorced her when I was 8. I was not his child biologically, but he still got custody. He hired a nanny, and I didn't really see him a lot as he was always working. He remarried when I was 10, and I have a stepsister who is a year younger than me. My dad is a really engaged parent with my stepsister. My dad pretty much told me when I was 13 that the only reason he had fought for custody was because he knew mom used to drive drunk. I feel like a guest at his house, and he doesn't talk to me a lot. I have never been excluded from anything, but it always is a pity invite out of obligation. I do look a lot like mom, and I think that is why he doesn't like me. I know that I am an obligation, and I should be grateful that I am not in a foster home right now. I go to a good school. I will never have to worry about college debt. But I don't belong here, and I know that he will probably not want anything to do with me once I'm done with college. It was my stepsister's 16th birthday, and they made a huge deal out of it. My dad took time off from work. My stepmom baked a cake, and they got her things based on her favorite movies and books. It was a small party with just her uncle and aunt invited. I don't know why, but it hit me like a ton of bricks. For my birthday, I got cheap store-bought cake that I cut alone with stepmom late at night because dad was busy, and my sister couldn't be bothered to stop gaming to come down. I was really close to crying. I was so freaking jealous and hurt. I know that I am an awful baggage that really shouldn't be here, and I just didn't want to pretend anymore. They wanted to take a family photo, and my stepmom asked me to join them, but I told her that I didn't want to. They were okay with it, but my stepsister asked again, but I was really not in a mental space to take a photo with them. They took the photo without me, and my sister is very mad at me because I didn't want to take pictures with her. My stepmom is also slightly annoyed and is frosty with me. I feel guilty. I should have sucked it up and just took the photo. I was just drawing attention to myself, and I shouldn't have done that. I feel like a petulant child. Now for the comments. I want to address this first. You absolutely do not have to be blindly grateful for the situation. Well, I'm glad that he took you in to prevent you being in danger with your mother. He ultimately chose to be your parent, and is failing at that. He was failing at that when he didn't engage with you. He failed at that when he did then engage with your stepsister, showing that this isn't a biology thing. And he royally failed by telling you a supposed reason for getting custody of you. Just because things could be worse doesn't mean that you don't deserve better. Now to your question. No, you're not the a-hole. You live in a family that has made you feel like this. I know that I'm an awful baggage that really shouldn't be here, and I just didn't want to pretend anymore. You shouldn't have sucked it up. You shouldn't have to ignore the way that they treat you. I'm so sorry that you were treated this way. I only hope that when you go to college in a year, you can start making your life, the one that you want and deserve. I feel guilty as hell. I am well provided for, and every time I think about the money he's spending on me, I feel a bit sick. He doesn't really want to do it, but he has to because he was sure that Mom would have endangered me. I feel guilty that I'm willing to accept so much from someone who doesn't want me around. Taking things from people who don't want to give is so selfish, and I feel like I'm being selfish by accepting everything. You shouldn't feel guilty about your father doing his own job. It's his job as a father to provide for you, whether he wants to or not, and it's not your fault that you were born or that he was forced to take care of you. Not stay home. Oh, honey, I am so sorry. I truly understand how hurtful this is. I was the black sheep of an extremely dysfunctional family. Alcoholism, abuse. I want you to hear this, okay? Because these things get in deep and leave bad scars, and you need to know that none of any of this is your fault. There's nothing inherently wrong with you, and you deserve better. You deserve better. You are worthy. Your parents being unable to fulfill the role of loving and nurturing you is indicative of their deficiency, not yours. There's nothing petty about being hurt by this. It's hurtful. The adults responsible for helping you develop your map of the world are inadvertently teaching you that you matter less than others. Do not accept this as a reality. Without knowing them, I have a tendency to suspect that they lack the emotional intelligence to realize this themselves. It doesn't excuse it, but may be helpful to you to realize there isn't malice towards you motivating this behavior, just ignorance. You are not a home. You can get through this, and I can tell you there is a world of people out there who are going to love you so much you won't know how to handle it. You're just gonna hang on until you can strike out on your own. Thank you. I have been struggling a lot lately. I know that I'm going to leave home this year, and I really had hoped that they would have warmed up to me by now, but they haven't. I know that once they sent me off to college, I will be a stranger, and it is so scary. I do have memories of good times with my dad and mom, and I know that he used to love me. I just need to go through this. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for taking my sister's money after finding out she's been using my card? For context, I, 17 male, have been on and off with working since I would mainly focus on school, but do some side gigs or do seasonal work so I can save some money to help me get my first car. My little sister is 13 female, has had a money issue in the past. For a few days now, I noticed on my bank app that random transactions were on my card. Example, Apple Bill, AliExpress, and Depop. I originally thought these were late charges as I had ordered stuff from those places. But when I called my bank, they informed me these looked like recent transactions, and I had to lock my card due to fraud. The total of the amount of money that was taken out of my account was $67.39. I informed my mother about the situation, and she said she would keep an eye on everyone in the family to see who was using it. Today I had to go to in-person school and I left my wallet at home. Once again, I see another transaction of $1.05 was placed on my credit card, and I received a message from a Depop account asking for confirmation of a Squishmallow. Immediately I got upset, called my mom and demanded that she gets my sister and tell her that I know that she's been using my card, and that when I get home she will have to pay me back. I got home and my sister refused to give up any money, insisting that I can't take her money, and that she would do all my chores and that I can cancel the items she ordered, but still refusing to give up any money. I I got angry and went through my sister's wallet and took out the whole amount that was taken out of my card. My mom thinks that I went too far and that I was in the wrong and that my sister is going to have major trust issues with me, but I don't think I did anything wrong. Not stay home. Your mom is enabling your sister's bad behavior. I think it's funny that your mom is concerned about your sister having trust issues because you took the money that was owed to you, when really your sister is the one who broke your trust by using your card behind your back. OP's sister issue has nothing to do with trust. It's called theft. Mom is enabling her in a very dangerous way. Now stay home. Your mother is not doing her job as a parent. She's the one who should be making your sister pay you back and making her apologize for stealing from you. Not stay home. You're totally right. Like, how does a 13-year-old have past money issues? Seems like mom has been ignoring this behavior from the sister for a while. Not stay home. Your sister stole from you. There should be no question that she should pay everything back, and there should be other consequences as well. Literally this. I'm baffled by the mom's reaction. Edit. First of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone replying in this post, regardless of whether you put NTA, YTA, or ESH. Your opinions are helping me with the situation. There was something I would like to clarify now that I have the time to put it all out, as when I first made this post, it was in a fit of rage. My sister had always had a money issue growing up. During the time when my mother and father were still together, my father was the type to spoil her, giving her money and just letting her spend whatever and however she wanted. When my father left, she only started to receive any type of allowance through our mother by chores. Regarding the card I have is under a student/teen/kid plan with my mom's bank. I have a habit of where I tend to forget my keys and wallet at home, so I do believe that's how my sister was able to grab my card information. Either way, today I locked both my debit and credit and requested to receive a new one. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to give my husband's ex-wife more money? I, 33 female, and my husband, 36 male, have been together for 3 years, recently married this past year, and we have a 1-year-old child together. My husband has 2 kids from a previous marriage, Zara, 16 female, and Sam, 18 male. My husband is a disabled veteran, and his child support is based on his government compensation, Social Security. Social Security determines the amount of child support his ex-wife receives per child, and her child support payments dropped in half when our son turned 18 and dropped out of high school. We had no issues with his ex-wife until we married, and now his ex-wife wants more money because my income is significantly more than my husband's. His ex-wife also wants compensation for their 18 male, who lives at home with her. We told our son Sam that he could live with us as long as he promised to work on his GED, but he refused. I currently pay for Zara's cell phone and car insurance. So am I the a-hole for not offering more money for child support? Just want to add, ex-wife worked at CVS as a pharmacy tech for years. When I married my husband, she quit her job and started part-timing as a waitress. Ex-wife and the kids live with the grandparents, and we see the kids maybe once a month due to both kids having jobs. Ex-wife does not want to go to court because she is still paying on lawyers' fees from her second marriage and custody battle, so she wants us to come to an agreement to give her more money. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Take her to court. She gave up a better paying job to be a waitress and is trying to leech off you and your husband and expects you to pay for a legal adult kid who has made a bad choice of not continuing or even finishing his education? Woof. We recently found out that Zara is missing school, and the ex-wife texted my husband that she will have our daughter drop out of school before being taken to court by the school for failure to go to school/truancy. Our daughter drives to school, and her mom works evenings, so she's at home when our daughter is missing school. Seems like the husband needs to get CPS and law enforcement involved. Your income has nothing to do with his child support. Not the a-hole. Just need to be careful about the possibility of imputed income, depending on where you live. True, I live in Netherlands, and the income of the new partner may mean that you have to pay more alimony here, because from that moment on, you can share living costs with someone, which increases your financial capacity. Not the a-hole. She shouldn't have left her better-paying job to wait tables. Her financial situation is not your problem. Furthermore, she knows what she is asking is too ridiculous to take to court and is hoping you'll take pity on her. It's what it looks like. I hope your husband is in agreement with you. Joint finances or not, it would be coming from money you earned. And the layabout son needs to do something to better his life as well. Yeah, we are getting mixed opinions from my husband's family if we should give more money or not. My husband agrees with me. Anytime our older kids need clothes or shoes, we pay for them. We give the kids gas money. We've also helped with their car repairs. So we don't understand her logic for us giving her more money a month just because. We told the ex-wife that both kids could live with us if the financial strain was too much, and she adamantly refused. I also want to add that his ex-wife has claimed both kids on her taxes since their divorce 10 years ago. So, if both kids lived with us, she wouldn't receive child support or tax credits. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to share my lottery winnings with my boyfriend's nephews? Children in our country sometimes sell stuff for their schools to fund school trips, etc. I think many countries do that, so I don't need to explain more. Usually, it's around big holidays, etc., and we have a Christmas lottery, something many schools sell. My boyfriend and I have been together for 13 years, and we are happily child-free. We have good incomes and comfortable living. My boyfriend's sister and her husband also have good incomes and comfortable living. But I feel sometimes that she always tries to hint that we make more than we spend because we don't have children. Excellent deduction. And that maybe we should give more presents and stuff to her two sons. I don't agree. I put around 30 to 60 euros on a present. And whether it's good or bad, I don't care. I come from money as my parents had good jobs, but we learned from young age that is never the value of the present. Yet I had the happiest upbringing. Anyway, the sons get a couple dozens or more lotteries each to sell. And the idea is to go around the neighborhood, etc. But they're too lazy, and they make the family buy everything. And since my boyfriend and I have nothing important to spend money on, we end up buying the majority of the tickets. Around 200 to 300 euros worth each occasion. It angers me a bit in the beginning, but my boyfriend seemed uncomfortable saying no and I hate making him uncomfortable, so I said, oh well. This Christmas, I won about 150,000 euros. I was so happy because I never win stuff. But when the nephews heard this, they wanted their ticket back. I was shocked and said hell no. They called me like 50 times, and my boyfriend's sister and her sons showed up next morning to talk, then argue, then fight me. Then she asked to at least split it 50-50 with them, but I wouldn't budge. All three left in tears saying they will take me to court, and my boyfriend wants me to split or I'm being an a-hole. I usually donate 20% of my bonuses, inheritance, or any big chunk of money I get to charity. I thought I would do that, and buy the boys the bicycles they were saving for, which cost around 2,500 each. I don't know why, but now I won't even buy them the bicycles. Am I the a-hole? Edit. My boyfriend is the one who pays for the tickets. He then splits the tickets. The winning ticket was one of mine. Not the a-hole. It's your money to do whatever you want with. Screw your boyfriend's family for being leeches, and screw your boyfriend for not standing up for you. Hope he should take the money and pay for the boyfriend to get therapy to start learning healthy boundaries and how to say no to family. Not the a-hole. If anyone else, more specifically a stranger, had gotten that winning ticket and not you, they probably never would have asked them to split the money, because that would be rude. But since it's their uncle's girlfriend, then apparently all of that goes out the door. You bought the tickets. The transaction was finished, so they were 100% your tickets and not theirs. So I don't see why you should have to share. Not the a-hole. Which court they were planning to take you? The court of entitlement? Court of idiots? If you decide to donate some money to charity, do it in their names. Maybe buy bicycles to kids in shelter or something. Your boyfriend should learn some boundaries. If he's fine being a doormat, that's on him. But he shouldn't expect you to be. If he really thinks you are an a-hole, then maybe he isn't the one for you. And don't forget to report them to the organizers for trying to claim ownership of tickets they sold, not the a-hole OP. Not the a-hole. Seems like over 13 years you've spent thousands on these lottery tickets, plus gifts. You've been more than generous. They have no right to the winnings, any more than the clerk at a corner shop who sells a winning ticket. As for the ultra-expensive bikes, there's no reason they need them. If they are even considering such a purchase, they're not hurting financially. I'd suspect you were told about their saving up before Christmas in hopes you'd give them a significant cash gift towards the bikes, regardless of what they then spent it on. P.S. We have the same issue with fundraising in the US. Raffle tickets, cookies, whatever the kids are supposed to sell, it ends up with the parents pushing the stuff on relatives, rather than the kids selling to neighbors like it used to be. I used to make a cash donation instead. Next story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my sister and her kid out of my house because she refused to cover the damage her kid caused? My sister has been living with me for close to a year along with her 6-year-old son. She recently became homeless after what I'm gonna be nice and just call a series of bad choices. And since no one else would take her or her kid in, I decided to let them live with me until she can get back on her feet. Now, I'm a reasonable person, and I only have a few rules. Mainly, don't touch my things. Just respect my personal space and you're golden. That's not an unreasonable rule, right? Well, unfortunately, my sister just refuses to discipline her kid. Every day, it's just constant tantrums and fits. At any attempt I make to set him straight, gets my sister up in arms about how he can't help it. But I try my best to bear with it, because I know these two have literally nowhere else to go. Recently as well, I finally built my own gaming PC after months of work and thousands of dollars spent, and I was beyond thrilled it came out so well. Of course, I immediately told my nephew not to touch it, and that he is under no circumstances allowed near it. He just about break everything else, so I don't think I'm being harsh here in saying I don't want him near it. I tell my sister as well to keep him away from it, but she just says I shouldn't bully him. Cut to a few days ago, and he's throwing yet another tantrum because he wants to play Minecraft on my PC. I of course tell him no, but my sister is getting on my case about how it's not fair I get to be the only one to play it. I don't have time to deal with this. I need to run errands, but I'm hoping in vain that my sister can control him for once. The actual area with my PC set up is an open room with no door. Think an office space but with figurines and such, so it's not like I can lock it off like I could do my room. Not even asking them to come with me worked, since my sister just refused and my nephew screaming and crying certainly isn't a one to deal with when shopping. Come time I return, I immediately check to see if the PC is safe, and what I find is broken glass everywhere. My monitor is on the floor and the PC tower practically in pieces. I'm beyond fuming now, and confronts my sister about what happened. She doesn't even try to hide it. She just says she let him on but couldn't figure out how to launch Minecraft. And when nephew got mad he couldn't play, he had a meltdown. I of course demand she cover the costs to replace/repair. But she says it's my fault for not letting him play, and that she doesn't owe me anything. By this point, I had enough and packed all of their things, and told both of them to get out or else I'm calling the police. She reluctantly left before snipping, "I hope you're happy," under her breath. Over the next few days, I'm bombarded with texts and voicemails from her, calling me a bad brother and that it's my fault they're homeless. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. No, it is her fault she's homeless again. Harsh as I may sound, you set rules and boundaries in your home. Not only did she not try to abide by your requests, she override them. Your rules didn't matter to her. Your belongings didn't matter to her. Very sad. The kid shouldn't have done what he did, but it seems like he has some kind of disability or disorder, because it's not normal for a 6-year-old to completely destroy a PC. Or maybe poor parenting. My 3-year-old niece knows better than to throw a fit like that. If she's mad at you, she gets very, very quiet. I'd love to know what evil she's planning. OMG. Nope. Not the a-hole. Just FYI, cause it sounds like you don't have any other kids in your life. Your nephew didn't have a meltdown. A meltdown is a kid having big feelings they don't know what to do with, and it comes out big. Your nephew is destructive and undisciplined, not sure how he can get through school if this is how he acts. If this isn't fixed ASAP, he's probably going to develop something like defiant oppositional disorder. You can't let kids get away with destroying things, even if it's just a toy, when they don't get their way. That sounds like what happened though. Children need to have emotional regulation modeled and taught to them. They can also learn to seek reactions from adults if they're not getting the attention they want in other ways. Not the a-hole. I'm starting to understand what some of your sister's bad decisions might have been. The rules you set up were completely reasonable, especially since you were letting her stay there as a favor. One of the most basic things she could do is keep her kid under control. She brought this entirely on herself. And despite what she said, none of this is your fault. And she's going to continue to be homeless and whatnot until she takes responsibility for her own choices. Last story. Am I the a-hole for screwing over my sister-in-law? I, 26 female, have been married for 7 years. My husband and I were young when we got together, and as a result, I became like another kid to his parents. But that's a story for just now. Anyways, I never thought of his sister, 27 female, as anything less than my own. So when she had her kid, 2 male, I was excited. I've got my own kids, but I was happy to have a nephew. So my sister-in-law lives next door with her parents. The issue is that I've become the baby drop-off center. I need to run to the store turns into me texting her 4+ hours later trying to figure out where she is. It's always someone else's fault on why she's late. I'm in college online though and can't exactly do my work when her kid is on a sleeping schedule of 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. My kids attend school and need their sleep though they have a decent bedtime. I'll also add that I have a hard time telling people no and currently in therapy for that among other issues. Because of those reasons, when she came to me saying she had a job offer, she asked which of 2 schedules worked for me. Didn't even ask if I would be the babysitter. I told her neither did, so we agreed to a schedule where I'd watch him half the schedule and her parents would watch him the other. Usually her parents back out, but I told her that wasn't going to be able to happen. Well, her first interview/training is today. She told me days ago that her dad was watching her kid since he'd probably still be asleep. Okay, awesome. Then at 2 a.m. the day off, she messaged me and said, "You're still able to watch him tomorrow, right?" I hope so because I have no one else. I was angry and told her so. I told her I'm being taken advantage of, and letting me know last minute she wasn't having her dad watch him isn't okay. Dad isn't sick, just didn't want to. I told her how it isn't right that everyone else can say that they don't want to and it's okay because she knows I have a hard time saying no. It ended with her apologizing and begging me to keep him, but I still said no. She told me she will lose the job if she can't find a babysitter. And I told her he isn't my kid, so it's not my issue. My mother-in-law then messaged me telling me she's going to straighten me out and that if my nephew is such a bother, then I just won't keep him anymore. She also told me I'm an awful person for screwing over my sister, and she expected more from me. My husband agrees with me but won't say anything to his mom and sister. Am I the a-hole? Should I watch him anyways? Not the a-hole. Both you and your husband need to stand your ground. You aren't responsible for sister-in-law's kid. If your mother-in-law is so upset, why doesn't she look after her grandchild? Both you and your husband need to start setting some boundaries with sister-in-law. Otherwise, they will continue to take advantage of you not being able to say no. Your kids and your family come first. Added to say that your husband is the a-hole for not backing you up here. He may agree with you, but him keeping quiet is just as bad. He needs to grow a backbone and speak to his sister and parents. Agreed. If Opie's husband doesn't talk to her parents, they will continue to take advantage of Opie's inability to speak. This will not end Opie's problem. Massive not the a-hole. She's taking advantage of you, pure and simple. And your mother-in-law's behavior is also appalling. Why doesn't she watch him? Please keep standing up for yourself. Mother-in-law's one of those I shouldn't have to, but you should people. You are not going to watch him anymore? Okay, mother-in-law, you can do it then and not back out. Straighten me out? Now, lady, I am straight a line about my personal space and not watching your grandkids. Awful person? Cool. Don't call or message me anymore if I am awful. Not the a-hole. We've been at each other's throats for some serious overstepping she did a few months ago. Finally made peace, though not made up as I'll never forgive her for what she did. And now she's gonna straighten me out because she's sick of me thinking I'm better than everyone. Lol. This isn't the first time she's said that. It lasted a day before I had my nephew again. Stand your ground and polish your spine. Do not take your nephew again. As for your mother-in-law, her language toward you more than justifies cutting her off for a while and not allowing her to be around your child. She freaking threatened you. Am I the a-hole for insulting my sister after she announced her pregnancy at Christmas? Happy holidays all! Here's hoping yours turned out better than mine. I, 24 female, am the youngest of 4, and have never been particularly close to my eldest sister Jenny, 37 female. She started dating her now ex-husband Sam, 38 male, when they were in high school, so he's pretty much been around my entire life. Sam's a really great guy. He was an older brother to me growing up, and my other sisters and I all have a great relationship with him. Jenny and Sam have 2 kids together, my nephew and niece who are 8 and 5. About 3 years ago, Jenny and Sam's relationship completely fell apart, and she left him and moved to a different city. I've heard both sides of the story, and I know I'm inherently biased against my sister because she left my ex-brother-in-law to raise 2 kids by himself. Things were pretty rough after she left, but we all pitched in and did our best to help with the kids. My sister and Sam eventually finalized their divorce and she gave up custody of the kids, and has very low contact with them. I know Sam blamed himself for her leaving because she had accused him of not loving her as much as he loved the kids, but the rest of my family were firmly on his side. He did eventually move on, and started dating one of his close friends at the beginning of this year. Fast forward 2 months ago, my sister moved back to our city with a new boyfriend. She's only been to see her kids once, supervised, and my niece almost didn't recognize her. My parents still wanted the opportunity to finally have Christmas as a complete family again. I thought the whole thing would be a disaster before it even began. I knew my ex-brother-in-law only planned to stay long enough to drop off the kids and say a quick hello to everyone else. In the 15-minute window he was at my parents' house, my sister announced that she was pregnant, and things went downhill after that. The kids were so confused, and my niece asked if the new baby would live with them. My sister laughed and said the baby would live with her and her boyfriend. My ex-brother-in-law left with the kids in tow, and I kind of lost it. I yelled at my sister and called her selfish and cruel, and a whole slew of insults. Anything I could come up with in the moments before storming out myself. My other sister supports my actions, but my parents are disappointed that I reacted that way and made a scene during Christmas. They're not demanding that I apologize or anything, but have me put on one heck of a guilt trip and want me to resolve things with my sister. I'm perfectly happy not being in contact with her given what she's put my niece and nephew through. But I do wonder if I reacted too harshly. Was I an a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your sister turned Christmas into a way to dunk on her ex and her own kids. The kids were so confused and my niece asked if the new baby would live with them. My sister laughed and said the baby would live with her and her boyfriend. This is the worst part. She told her own kids that their half-sibling wouldn't be staying with them and then laughed at them. She's cruel and heartless. Definitely not stay home. Seriously, how terrible of a person do you have to be to rub it in your own young children's faces that this new baby's wanted and they aren't? My heart breaks for those poor kids. OP not stay home. The fact that her children automatically assumed that the baby would stay with them, as though it's normal for mom to have kids and leave them. My heart truly hurts for them. Not stay home. She was cruel to her kids for literally no reason. Watch her in 25 years ranting about none of my kids care about me and playing victim when she obviously couldn't care less about them now that they need a mom. Not sure if she was intentionally trying to hurt the kids because I don't think she ever properly loved them and doesn't even realize how much of an issue that is. She was definitely trying to rub it in my ex-brother-in-law's face and didn't care about them being collateral damage. I don't know which is worse, to be honest. I obviously haven't spoken to her since Christmas Eve, but I'll be visiting the kids later today. I just hope they'll get through this and know that none of this is their fault. I'm sorry to say that level of carelessness that despite she has for her ex, to the point of hurting her own children, makes it better that she maintains no contact with them. It would probably be better for your brother-in-law to maintain full custody. He'd even go back to court to make sure she doesn't have access to them. Her behavior is cruel and damaging. It's unfortunate she doesn't take care of the 2 she has, and decides to bring more children into this world. Next story. Am I the a-hole for hiding from my mother-in-law and pretending not to be home? I, 32 female, had a baby 8 weeks ago, and since then my mother-in-law has had a habit of popping by without calling first. I have anxiety at the best of times, but it's a bit worse right now, and when she comes over, particularly when my husband is at work and not there to mediate, I find her constant stream of advice and thinly veiled criticism, like looking intently at the floor while saying, "You must not have a vacuum cleaner. I'll bring one next time I'm over," to be just too much to handle. Both my husband and I have asked that she call before coming over, but she brushes it off, saying that family shouldn't have to call. Last week, I was having a rough day and was tired as the baby had been up in the night more than usual. I looked out the bedroom window to see my mother-in-law walking through the front gate, and I honestly wanted to cry. I'm not proud of it, but I sat on the floor of the bedroom ignoring the doorbell until she went away. I felt really bad after her, because she doesn't drive and I knew it would have taken her a 20-minute bus ride to get to our house, just to have turned around and go back. Apparently, she called my husband at work to let him know that she'd tried to visit me, because he called home to see if everything was okay. And I told him she must have come while I was out with the baby for a walk, because I didn't want to admit that I had hidden from his mother. That evening when he got home, he noticed that the baby's stroller was in the corner with a diaper bag in it, as he'd left it the previous day, so I figured out I hadn't taken the baby for a walk after all. I admitted that I hadn't answered the door for his mom even though I was home, and he said that he knows she can be difficult, but that it was still an a-hole move to make her spend 40 minutes in transit to not even see me or her grandchild. He brought it up a couple of times over the holidays. Just to me, he didn't tell her. And now I feel like maybe I did something really awful. Not an a-hole. She has to call before coming. The fact that she sat in the bus for 40 minutes without seeing her grandchild is her own problem. Yes, mother-in-law brought it on herself by not informing an upcoming visit. Too bad. Not an a-hole. It's extremely rude to keep stopping by without asking. You should come to her house at a very bad time for her, like very early morning or while she is busy, and say that family shouldn't have to call to come over. Does your husband help with the baby at night? Thank you. He does sometimes, but we agreed that since I'm on maternity leave, I'm in Canada so I get a year off, and he's still working, I will handle the majority of the wake-ups. When we had a really bad week, the baby had colic. He handled the wake-ups until midnight so I could get a few hours of sleep. Please think about changing this. You need sleep to be a great mom, and so maybe once or twice a week if you can handle wake-ups, it will give you back some sanity. Also, not stay home. Mother-in-law is being a judgmental pain, and it's the last thing you need right now. Your husband's got to back you up on this one. Call before you come and make sure we are okay with you coming over. If you don't, you will be turned away. Your presence is not good for mom and baby, especially when you're critical. When you do come, you have to cut that crap out. And if you can't, then better you not come. Not stay home. And I would tell your husband you will do that each and every time she comes by without calling and getting your expressed permission going forward. It's completely unacceptable for her to show up at anyone's house without calling and confirming they're okay with it, especially that of a new mother. Beyond that, I would maybe start responding to her passive-aggressive comments bluntly. In your example, I would say, "Great, then when you bring a vacuum, you can vacuum next time I agree for you to come over. That's such a great gift, mother-in-law, for you to willingly vacuum our home." Alternatively, you can say, "I would appreciate no comments about the state of my house, especially when I did not agree to you coming over." Overall, get your husband to be aware you will do this going forward, and he should let his mother know that this is the course of action that you both will be doing. Next story is titled, "Am I the a-hole for agreeing to have my family visit for a week after my wife gives birth?" My wife 23 and I 27 are expecting. She's due this month, and things have been a bit intense recently with her being extra hormonal. We live in a different state than my family, so my wife and I couldn't visit for Christmas. My parents were calling to continue complaining about us not spending Christmas with them, and demanded I make it up for them. I said I was open for any suggestions they had, and they suggested they come stay with us for a week once the baby is born. That way they could spend time with us and the baby as well. I thought, why not? That seemed to be a pretty good suggestion, since it's been months since we've seen each other, so I told them to go ahead and made the invitation official. This morning, my wife was talking about her plans once the baby's here, and that's when I remembered my conversation with my parents. I immediately told her that I agreed to let them over for a week once the baby is born, to make up for the holidays we missed with them. She first looked shocked, then freaked out at me saying I shouldn't have invited them just like that without talking to her first. I asked why not, since she loves them and loves being around them. But she explained that my family can be a lot of work, and having them as guests while caretaking for a newborn is the last thing she wanted. I told her it was no big deal, besides that we could use help if she thought about this way. But she lashed out on me about how the first few days of the baby's life is essential time for bonding and being intimate, and I just took that away from her by inviting my parents and invading her space. I argued that she was being melodramatic right then, because my family are decent people. and I'm pretty sure they'll make this experience a lot more warmer. But she still disagreed and said if my family were decent, then they wouldn't have accepted my invitation. I clarified to her that I did not invite them, and this was in fact a suggestion made by them, and I just agreed after they complained about me missing spending the holidays with them. She went off on me demanding I call them and cancel everything I planned with them, but I thought that was unacceptable since she did not give a good enough reason for me to do that. And besides, my parents can help, but she still denied that being true. She's gone radio silence for the rest of the day and is acting like my family are somehow making her uncomfortable, though they're not the judgmental or intrusive type, and are just about spending time with each other. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. You're the a-hole. Until you push a human out of your body and suffer the physical consequences of it, you absolutely do not get to say that it is no big deal and not good enough reason. Your wife will have just pushed a fair-sized melon out of her body. There is a good chance she will have been torn or cut. There is a good chance she won't be able to sit down. She will potentially be in a diaper and have walnut-sized clots of blood coming out of her body. There is a chance that the bathroom will not be guest-ready after she has been in there because it will look like an abattoir. Are you cleaning up every time she goes in there? Her milk will come in on about day 5, which is often extremely painful and causes a huge hormonal surge and causes the milk blues. Her nipples will not yet have hardened up and might crack and bleed. Your baby may be an angel, but then again it may not. Your wife might be feeding very, very frequently, meaning she won't sleep, she will be exhausted, look like crap, and cry a lot. You think none of this is a good reason to not want to host guests? In short, the only people who should be staying with you are people who have seen her naked and could actually help her in the bathroom like her mother, sister, or husband. This is all if the birth is normal, straightforward delivery. A friend gave birth, tore so much she needed surgery twice, and wasn't fit for visitors for at least a month. And that was just people going for an hour, let alone living in the house. You are the biggest a-hole I've ever seen. You're the a-hole. So instead of having the week after giving birth to begin healing, bonding, time with her little family of 3, you have made it so your wife has to host and put up with having guests? Do you have any idea how much pain she's going to be in? Not to mention the 2 of you learning to be parents. Plus, well done in showing to your wife that at her most vulnerable, you will not be putting her first. Hold on. Edit. Few things so there's no misunderstanding here, alright? First of all, my wife doesn't normally have an issue with my family being around. They all get along pretty good. And second of all, which is an important info, my wife and I talked about having her directly speak to them about why she should rather postpone their visit so we could clear the air. But she refused and said she doesn't want to ruin her relationship with them. It asked me to do it. Tell them not to come. But since my family are upset with me, then me telling them not to come might be taken in an offensive way. So it really feels like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. Also, to all the people saying that my wife shouldn't be hosting guests, I don't recall mentioning this nor expecting her to do anything for the family. Matter of fact, I really thought we could maybe use their help, especially my mom. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling grandmother-in-law if she was a better mom? Her daughter wouldn't be having an allergic reaction, and it isn't my fault at all? I wanted to host Christmas this year, but someone else already had dibs, so I settled for a small Christmas morning brunch. I invited both sides of the family. I made orange rolls, cinnamon rolls, hash brown casserole, and eggs. Mother-in-law is allergic to orange, but I didn't anticipate a problem because she's obviously an adult who can just not eat the orange rolls. I did warn her that the ones on the left were orange. Now for some background, grandmother-in-law and grandfather-in-law messed up their kids so bad. Literally, all of mother-in-law's siblings have issues. Mother-in-law is by far the most normal. She has a huge victim complex and some emotional issues, but she has a job and no criminal record, so she's doing better than her siblings. I can't even put into words how bad parenting was. The kids were so spoiled, and then there was no discipline. The mom gave the girls eating disorders. Mother-in-law's sister really bullied her growing up. Grandfather-in-law let his crazy mom come around and spew racist crap. There was zero accountability. For example, mother-in-law drove a car to their house when she was 19 because she had been drinking, and they were just like, meh, and bought her a new car. So on Christmas Day, mother-in-law's sister decided to rub orange frosting on her arm as a prank. It gave her a rash. Mother-in-law immediately began moaning about how we all hate her and bringing up drama from years ago. Mother-in-law's boyfriend was the only one with enough sense to wash mother-in-law's arm. Grandfather-in-law did tell his 40-something-year-old daughter that she shouldn't have done that, but that was it. And mother-in-law was more concerned with bringing up random examples of our perceived hatred. Also, I know it is dangerous and a non-severe allergy can turn severe, but it was just a rash and mother-in-law was okay. Grandmother-in-law cornered me in the kitchen and said I was irresponsible for serving orange rolls when I know her daughter is allergic. She said I should have thought more about the family that I failed as a hostess. I was just sick of all of them and told her that she failed as a mother, and her middle-aged daughter shouldn't be using an allergen to prank someone. I said she's the reason her kids all have such severe issues. She's the reason the family's a mess, and I won't take any responsibility for serving orange. Grandmother-in-law cried and ended up leaving early, and two of mother-in-law's siblings left and refused to speak to me. Why do you want these people in your life? Honestly, I'm not even going to make a judgment here. I just want to know if Opie is even happy. Everyone sucks here. Obviously, the prank was horrendous and the sister is a massive a-hole for it. You're an a-hole though, because orange is such an easily avoidable allergen. Why would you have it at a meal that excludes someone? Sure, something more common could be harder to avoid, like dairy. But orange? You didn't need to include it. There were plenty of alternatives and orange is a common Christmas flavor. You even decorate trees with them in some countries. As someone with food intolerances, I find it annoying when people twist themselves into knots to avoid serving anything I can't have, instead of just providing me an alternative and trusting me as an adult to feed myself correctly.